Nel nome del Padre, Figliolo, Spirito Santo. Amen.
Such a separation.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. Special shout out now to those of you who might be listening to this as one of the recorded videos. We post all of my talks on 3 different platforms. We post them on YouTube and BitChute and on Rumble. So please subscribe to whatever platform you are watching this on. And please leave a comment and also hit that like button. When you like a video, it increases its visibility to other people on that platform. So, of course, I, like any speaker, want their message to get out to as many people as possible. So help us get the message out. Please subscribe and make sure that you hit the like button. Okay, the title of my talk today, one of my favorite expressions, cleanliness, is next to godliness. So there is this connection between clean and spiritual. The cleanliness is next to godliness. It's not a biblical expression, but it does have roots in the Bible. It has roots in the Bible through the ancient Jewish traditions of cleanliness and purification. And of course, Christianity sprang from those Jewish traditions. The Old Testament book of Leviticus has very detailed accounts of purification rituals and cleanliness rituals. And so there is definitely something about cleanliness, orderliness, purification on all levels that has been associated with spirituality and religion down through the ages. In more modern times, even if we can go back a couple of centuries, Sir Francis Bacon, he was an English author, philosopher, statesman. Because he talked a lot about the scientific method, he's also called the father of modern science. And in 1605, he wrote about cleanliness, and he said that cleanliness of the body followed from reverence for God, for society, and for our fellow man. So there's something in the secular realm, but reinforcing the idea of cleanliness and it being associated with godliness. It's believed that the person who actually coined the expression cleanliness is next to godliness is John Wesley, who was an English cleric in the 1700s. He was the cleric who founded Methodism. And he's the one who apparently said cleanliness is next to godliness. So, as I like to do, I wanted to get some image of cleanliness. So, I searched the internet and I found this one. Oh, there's some happy people cleaning. Yes, I love them. I want to join them. They look happy and godly. Nice cleaning team there with those cute little green aprons. So modern, representing different genders and races. We love it. So cleanliness is next to godliness. I love the smile on that young woman's face. So cleanliness really, I think it applies to all levels. A lot of people, when they hear things like this, they immediately talk about, the more spiritual level of cleanliness or the more mental level of cleanliness. But I think it applies to physical cleanliness as well. I think we can use all of these things. But of course, you know that it does mean more than physically clean. It means mentally clean and spiritually clean. I remember when I was a child, a young child, like 5, 6, 7, 8, and if I would get physically dirty and maybe mention it to my mother that I was dirty, I needed to wash or something, she would always say, "At least it's the kind of dirt you can wash off." And those were some sort of covert references to the dirt of the soul because of some kind of sexual sin of some kind. So we can wash off physical dirt easily, but it's not as easy to wash off the dirt that comes from doing bad sexual things. She never mentioned sex, but I could tell by her energy that that's what she was referring to. So I think it's really unfortunate that we, as a culture, have made sex and sexual expression dirty. Uh, you know, it took me decades to get over that. I mean, I always knew it was wrong. I knew it was wrong even when my mother said it when I was a kid. There was just something very negative about her energy, the way she was putting it out there. I know she was doing the best she could, and she was trying to raise her children as good moral people, but there was something, off about it. And there's certainly something off about thinking of sexuality and sexual expression as dirty. And, I remember the Pink Floyd album, The Wall, that was very, very popular. And there's a song in The Wall called Young Lust. And the lyrics of the song is, "Ooh, I need a dirty woman. Ooh, I need a dirty girl." But said with a certain amount of, lust. So just that conflict that we have put in our minds between sexual expression and being dirty. Um, it took me decades to get over that. I think I am over it. I don't think I do it at all anymore. But uh, cleanliness doesn't really have anything to do with the dirt of sexual expression, but except that if you do feel that sexual expression is dirty, maybe it's time you cleaned that up a little bit and let go of it. I don't think there's any reason to feel that way. There's nothing in A Course in Miracles that would imply that sexuality is dirty or sinful. But however, even in our Course in Miracles community, there is the sexual material that is in the earlier edits of A Course in Miracles. And while nobody is really going to say that the Course or Jesus says that it's sinful or dirty, you might hear a lot of discussion that it's a mistaken body identification that we all need to grow beyond. And there might be some passages in those early edits that might lead to that, though I think it's pretty questionable. And there's things that imply the opposite of that. So I just want to address this. I address this from time to time. And a lot of people don't like that I address this, but I do because I'm guided to. But people frequently will say that sexual expression is a real body identification and that we need to overcome body identification. So those who like to be sexual are just hooked into their body identification. And I want to say that my guidance on that is that's a totally upside down perception. And I have not really found that to be true. As a matter of fact, those who are sexual usually have to get over their body identification. It takes quite a bit of getting over your body identification to take your clothes off in front of somebody else. I mean, come on, let's face it. The most body identified people I know are those who won't take their clothes off in front of identification and sexuality thing. Okay, so A Course in Miracles does appeal, though, to spiritual purification. It says this in Miracles Principle number 7. Miracles are everybody's right, but purification is necessary first. So I remember when that's a very early miracle principle, and I got it. It was talking about purification of our thinking, purification of our mind. But a great metaphor for the purification of our thinking is cleanliness. Being clean, living in an orderly environment, keeping our environment orderly. The word clean or some derivation of the word clean appears 32 times in A Course in Miracles. That's quite a few. Reverend Diane only read some of them, the ones that appeared in the text, and that was a selection of them. There are certainly many more. And if you read them all, you see that it does take in every nuance of the meaning of the word clean. Here's one that she didn't read because it was in the workbook. It says, vision has something to show you, something beautiful and clean and of infinite value, full of happiness and hope. So cleanliness is being here connected with happiness and hope. And I know that I definitely feel happier in a clean environment. And I got that message a long time ago. I try to keep my personal environments pretty orderly, pretty clean. I'm not always successful, but I certainly make an attempt at it. Here's one of the quotes about cleanliness. This is one that Reverend Diane read. It says, this loveliness is not a fantasy. It is the real world, bright and clean and new, with everything sparkling under the open sun. So you can see that particular passage is talking about a clean world. It's not really talking about a clean mind, though a lot of people want to default to that meaning of cleanliness. But this is talking about a clean world that sparkles under the sun. It's clean and sparkling. And we're here to bring that about. And yeah, there's a relationship with that, with our cleanliness and orderliness of thought, but it's reflected in the world. And I think spiritual people have always known this. I remember, a lot of images. I think it was an old movie called The Nun Story. It was about the life of a novitiate woman and her early years. And I remember there were scenes of her scrubbing the floor on her hands and knees with a big scrub brush and a little bucket and probably a stone or a tile floor. And, it's always like portrayed as these are kind of the torturous things that they put the young nuns through. But it was also because they wanted the religious dwelling to be clean and sparkling and bright. And there's something about that and that metaphor that helps the mind stay clean and orderly. As I think I mentioned, maybe it was to my healing team this past week, but I've mentioned it here before. I remember a teaching, I believe it was from the Unity minister, Eric Butterworth, many years ago, but I'm not sure. I might be misquoting him, but I think it was him. And he said that if you really want an indication of how enlightened somebody is, go into their house and look at their closets, because that's really a much better indication than anything they might tell you. People can talk a pretty good talk sometimes, but what's their environment like? What do they live in? What do they function in? What are they comfortable in? And I have remembered that, and I do have open houses at my house, in my apartment, a couple times a year. And if anybody wants to, you can come into my bedroom and open my closet door and look in my closet. It's pretty orderly. So I'm pretty enlightened, according to Eric Butterworth, because I have a pretty orderly closet. I remember decades ago when I was having my first foray into spirituality and religion, I encountered the Buddhist idea of cleaning the mirror of your mind. And even then, I knew that it was talking about, ordering and purifying our thoughts and perceptions. And even then, this again, decades ago, I knew, as a pretty young man, that I knew that the world was a reflection of my thoughts and beliefs about it. I had picked that up in my teenage years. I picked up quite a bit of metaphysics as a teenager when I was still in high school because I got interested in tarot cards, and I became quite a good tarot card reader. I read tarot cards all throughout my college and even later in life. I still have my favorite decks of cards and will occasionally, very occasionally, pull out my tarot cards. But that gave me a grounding and a lot of metaphysical thought. But it also really taught me that the world was an illusion. The world was a dream, that we were dreaming, and it was appearing the way it was appearing because of our thoughts. And that's why the tarot cards could match things that were going on in our lives because it was all coming from our same mind and our same thoughts. So, many things that I encountered primed me to embrace A Course in Miracles or feel comfortable with A Course in Miracles. As I said earlier today, I felt really happy and at home with that idea that's expressed in miracle principle number 7, which is a very early principle, which says miracles are everyone's right, but purification is necessary first. I really connected. I still connect to the idea of purification. I love that word. I love what it implies. I don't really know where that came from or why, and maybe it's just something I came into this realm with. But I like the word purification, and I like the process of purification. Um, I'm also very happy that that whole mirror metaphor that I encountered from Buddhism um, is very much in A Course in Miracles. Course in Miracles says, in this world you can become a spotless mirror in which the holiness of your Creator shines forth from you to all around you. You can reflect heaven here. Earth can reflect heaven or hell, God or the ego. You need but leave the mirror clean and clear of all the images of hidden darkness you have drawn upon it. So, an old spotless mirror idea, been around spirituality. Buddhism, of course, talks about it. And here it is in A Course in Miracles. Clean the mirror. The Bible also has this in it. Again, when I saw this in the Bible, I connected with it. Really happy to see it there. It's a very famous quote from Corinthians. Sometimes the quote, depending on the version of the Bible you're using, will use the word glass instead of mirror. Just depends on the translation. Some translations use the word mirror. I was actually reading something as I was preparing this talk that talked about the original word that they're translating could actually mean both. So I'll use both. I'm sure a lot of you know this quotation. It's used in weddings a lot. For now, we see through a glass or a mirror darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know even as I am known. So we see the world as a mirror, as a glass, but it's darkened. It's not clean. And we have to clean it because while it's dark and not clean, we can't know ourselves as whole. We only know ourselves in part. We don't know that we're face to face with our entire identity as we look out on the mirror that is the world. The world's the mirror. The world's the mirror for our mind. And if it's clean, we see ourselves. And if it's darkened, if we're looking through a glass darkly, then we see in part. We don't see in whole. Sickness in the world is a dirty smudge of the ego or of hell, if you want to use a more biblical term. And the only thing the Christ would do with a dirty smudge is clean it, heal it. Uh, you know, Healing is a form of cleaning. It's cleaning our mind. It's cleaning the world. It's healing our mind. It's healing the world. I was trying to think back as to where I first got the idea of really keeping an orderly environment and being clean. Not just clean a body. I'm a pretty clean body type of person. But also that I like my environment clean. I mean, you can talk to Reverend Dusa Althea because we frequently have the cleanliness discussion about my environment and what I like. And I remember telling her when we first started dating 33, 4 years ago, that I was really into being clean. It was a big important thing to me. And I used to say, cleanliness is next to godliness a lot. And so early on in the relationship, if I want to hold this up, hopefully you can see this. Dusa Althea created a collage for me. And this is the collage. And as you see, it's got me with a vacuum cleaner on my hands. And I got a tie on. And on the tie, she put, cleanliness is next to godliness. Because that's how she was thinking of me. And that's what I kept saying. And God bless her, she dated this. So this is dated as in 1994. So it's 31 years ago. It's hanging in my bedroom, and I see it every day. Cleanliness is next to godliness, and Dusa Althea got that message from me early on in the relationship. You can talk to my apartment mates, Reverend Peter. He's probably, a little annoyed with me at times because I have all these rules about cleanliness and cleaning schedules here in the apartment, but he admits that our apartment's really clean and it's really nice to live in a clean and orderly apartment. And I was thinking about where did I first get that idea? Because I've obviously had it for a real long time. And I read it somewhere. I read that it was really important for success to have a clean and orderly environment. My guess is I read it in the seminal work, Think and Grow Rich, by Napoleon Hill, which was first published in 1937. But I'm not absolutely sure about this. But I think that's where I encountered it in Think and Grow Rich. I remember that book as being really important and really enlightening and transformational for me and really helped me in many ways set my life on a good path. Napoleon Hill wrote that book after 20 years of research, interviewing very successful and very wealthy people. It's been, as I said, decades and decades since I read it. I don't even own a copy anymore, but I was thinking, it might be a good book to look at again and just take in. And maybe I can see that he never said anything about cleanliness, but I kind of remember that that's where it came from. One more quotation to end with here from A Course in Miracles about being clean. Again, this was one of the ones that Reverend Diane read. It says, how beautiful it is to walk clean and redeemed and happy through a world in bitter need of redemption that your innocence bestows upon it. So again, it's talking about a worldly approach to cleanliness. Yes, it, of course, is about our thoughts, but it's also about how we exist in the world. And that when we're clean, we're redeemed and happy. And that's certainly the way I want to be. So I'll just leave you with that. Clean something today. Be holy. Be a healing for yourself and for the world. Okay, that's my talk for today. Thank you very much for listening.
Nel nome del Padre, Figliolo, Spirito Santo. Amen.
Such a separation.
Have you been lonely? Have you been sad?